You ever notice there's some play in that tab on the end of the tape measure? That is exactly 1/16 of an inch, which is also the thickness of that tab. That's so when you're hooking on, you get an accurate measurement. While as you're measuring on the inside, like the space between two studs or the space between your walls, like for flooring, you get an accurate measurement because it actually subtracts that 16th of an inch. Now, I've heard of some folks being so irritated by that play that they actually get a pair of pliers and try and make it tighter. Don't do that. You take out that calculation. You know, one of the most important tools you can own is not usually found on your toolbox. It's usually found on your belt. That's right. In this video, we're talking about the metal retractable tape measure, why it's so important, and what actually can make it even more important to you. I'm Eddie Field with Field Guide to DIY. Let's dive in. Now, of course, you notice that there's a black mark around 12 inches. That's so you can quickly identify feet. But did you notice 16 there? In fact, this one is labeled why it's in red. That helps us quickly identify where the studs are, because most interior wall construction has the studs at 16 inches on center. That'll come in real handy when you're hanging a picture or hanging a mirror on the inside wall. I don't know everything. In fact, in making this video, I just noticed there's a red dot right at about 6.5 inches. If you know what that red dot is for, drop your answer in the comments below. I'd love to find out. Can you see real close there? It tells me that that case is 3 inches wide. I can actually include the case, get my measurement there, and say 18 plus 3 is 21, and that'll give me 21 inches by including the case in my measurement. Comes in real handy, especially like when you're measuring interior. This way you're not doing that crazy curl. Now, if you're like me, you've gotten caught on that tab. There's a sharp edge on that tab for a reason. If you're in a pinch and you don't have a pencil behind your ear or in your pocket, you can use that sharp edge to mark your board. It's real faint, but you can actually cut in using that tab for that measurement. Now, I would not recommend using this technique if you're looking for exact measurement, like for fine carpentry. But in a pinch and you don't have that pencil, you can mark on the board using that sharp edge of the tab. And also, not all tape measures are created equal. Some tape measures are more for craftsmen or carpenters, while other tape measures are more for surveyors. Some tape measures have just imperial or standard measurement, whereas other tape measures have metric on them, or both. This one's from IKEA, which makes sense because that's a European company. Like I said, this tape measure is left-handed. They actually have other tape measures that I'm looking into right now that has both left-handed and right-handed print on the tape measure. And Lufkin has a new tape measure that has a black background with bright fluorescent green numbering. I think that's on my next Christmas list. But also, not all tape measures have the protective coating that this tape measure has. So in the end, you're going to get what you pay for. The tape measure is not as recent as you think. Now, sure, the retractable part of the tape measure is more recent, but they've been marking numbers on strips of leather since back to the Egyptian days. And also for construction, they also had measured links of chain for the accurate measurement. And here's a tip to preserve the life of your tape measure. Keep it clean. That is, wipe it off from dust, concrete, mud, dirt, whatever. And if you want to get it really clean, extend it while facing it down. This way, whatever debris that's in the case is more likely to come out the mouth of the tape. And here's a tip that my dad gave me because he was around the job site and tape measures were often walking off. And so he suggested you get a Sharpie and extend that tape measure out to your lucky number. In his case, it was 19, and he would just write his initials or his name on the bottom side of the tape at 19 feet. And this way, if there was ever any dispute about whose tape measure that was, he would just extend it out to 19 and say, well, that's my name. Now, of course, you notice the gentle curve of the tape measure tape, right? Well, that's there so that you can extend it for long distances. Advertisers say it's usually about 8. So about 7 feet 6 inches is as far we can get extending this tape measure before it creases. That comes in handy, especially when you're trying to extend the tape measure to someone on the other ladder without it creasing. On the subject of the tab, did you ever notice that little groove there? Well, that's for you to hook onto a nail. It comes in really handy if you're trying to measure distances or even a circle. Let's get into the circle thing. So I mentioned that hole in the tab, that we can actually hook on a nail that we've driven into a board. Hold the pencil at 6 inches. This is not the best way to do it. Not the most accurate way, but in a pinch, it might help. Another way that I've seen is to put a long nail in the center and hook your tab on the end and lock your tape measure wherever you need to be. In this case, 4 inches, and put my pencil in that crook. Go around a couple times for accuracy's sake. Now, if you want to look like a pro, that index finger is going to come in handy because you're going to hook that underneath the tab, and that's going to let you quickly and easily hook on the edge of the piece that you're measuring. You need a quick way to find center of a board, but it's not equally divided. Why, this board is 13 and 3/4 and a 32nd. So how am I going to find the halfway point of that board? What I can do is I can turn my tape measure to an equally divisible number, and that is 14, and put my number at the middle point because I know that the middle is 7 of 14, and that is going to give me center right there. You can also use your tape as a scribe. If you want to quickly measure like 3 inches from the edge of the tape, you can just set your pencil at 3 inches and drag your tape along the board. This way you can do a rip cut of that 3-inch board. You ever need to go fishing? That is, you drop the nut or washer of your table saw blade, or maybe a particular nut or washer of something you're working on the bench, and it goes behind the bench. Well, I've picked up a pack of these neodymium magnets. They're super strong. You just slap one of these neodymium magnets on there and send your tape measure down behind the workbench and bring it up. Have I covered all the tips and tricks that you know about the tape measure? If not, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm Eddie Field with Field Guide to DIY. For more helpful tool tips and suggestions, click the image on your screen now. Oh, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more informative videos like this one.